All right, gang, good morning. It is so important to stay connected during this pandemic, and that is exactly why we are continuing to get aired out, up and running. We're going to try real hard to do it every day going forward, but we want to say happy Monday to you. It is May 11th. Today is National Eat What You Want Day. That is observed annually every May 11th. It's a day that is set aside to just indulge, to have fun, to give your diet a break, and just get headfirst into some indulgence. Now, one day a year, no regrets. Whether you love donuts or fast food, today is your day. However, it is also a perfect time to bring on my guest at around 7:30 this morning. In just about 20 minutes, Dr. Jason West is an integrative medical physician. He's the fourth generation owner of the infamous West Clinic in Idaho. And we're going to chat with him about whether or not it's a good idea to set aside one day to just indulge a little bit. I think I have a pretty good idea of what he is going to say about it. It might surprise you. So join in the conversation around 7:30. Don't forget that you can post comments right on YouTube. And we're just going to have fun with that. Health and nutrition and healthy living. It is not easy for many of us to eat healthy during the whole COVID-19 lockdown. So again, this is just coming up at around 7:30 this morning. Dr. Jason West of the Idaho Clinic. I want to say thanks to those of you that are tuning in this morning and getting your work day and your week started with us. There are still many of us who are working, essential workers everywhere, especially in the medical field, health facilities, skilled nursing facilities, assisted living, hospitals, paramedics, first responders, EMTs, and the like. Your day has, pretty much intensified over the last, couple of months, I guess we could officially say now. And we need you now more than ever. And we appreciate everything that you do on a day-to-day basis, taking care of so many people out there that need you. Don't know what we would do without you. Daily Dose of Feel Good this morning. We got a ride in a Tennessee Uber last month that has encouraged some people to speak out and give back. Uber driver Tammy Rivera told People magazine one of her passengers last month was a nurse who complained of being hungry after working an overnight shift. Rivera says their conversation inspired her to raise money to buy meals for medical staff members during the COVID-19 pandemic, and through posting on different social media groups, this Uber driver has raised over $12,000 for food. On Thursday, this past Thursday, she made her 27th food delivery. Love it. Daily Dose of Feel Good. Birthdays today: Kim Viennes from Barrie, Ginny Raboyne from Orange, and former MTV VJ Martha Quinn. Do you remember Martha Quinn? 61 years old. We'll have some brief morning sun today, says Roger Hill, but clouds will be thickening up. Some rain showers likely from like midday on, with a slight chance of a few rumbles of thunder in southern Vermont, possibly some small hail. 50 to 55 degrees for a daytime high today. Roger says that's about 10 to 15 degrees below seasonal norms. Some clouds tonight, rain showers, moderate at times this evening, mixing in with a few wet snowflakes in the higher terrain, especially down south. And also still maybe a little bit of thunder up above 32 to 35 degrees for the low tonight. Yeah. Mid 30s at best. Hope you haven't done anything crazy like, planted your garden or anything like that, like, some people. Partly sunny on Tuesday, some isolated afternoon rain showers, and still going to be cold tomorrow. Highs even chillier than today, around 45 to 50 degrees. That's still par with around 20 degrees below what we should be at a normal temperature for this time of year. I want to thank my presenting sponsors of Aired Out, Aromed Essentials. The best way to get their product is, well, you can, of course, jump online. It's real easy to do so. aromedessentials.com and browse around, have a look at some of their amazing products from just healthy living stuff in general. Everything's organic, essential oils, CBD lotions, creams, oils. Their CBD oil is fantastic. As you know, I use it a couple times a day. This is the full spectrum 500 milligram bottle that I have. CO2 extracted. This stuff is amazing. This is the ginger turmeric, but you can see many pictures on aromedessentials.com of this stuff, but you really ought to just give it a try if you're suffering from some joint pain, muscle pain, inflammation, anxiety, headaches. Google this stuff. Best of all, get on aromedessentials.com to read more about it. But embrace the power of therapeutic plants with Lauren Andrews, the owner of Aromed Essentials. I love this stuff. The relief lotion is incredible as well. Fontaine Forestry and Millwork over in East Montpelier. You talk about a busy family right now. The Fontaine family, they've got the bagged red hemlock at $5 a bag, or the cedar bark mulch, again, $5 a bag. That's a special right now. And if you get 5 or more, it's $4 a bag, which it's real easy to get at least 5 bags of this stuff. Think about your yard and, maybe some of those beds and the bases of some bushes and trees out in front of your property right now. These bags are 2 cubic feet. You don't even have to get out of your car. They'll load it up for you. They'll take a credit card, cash, whatever it may be, and you will be on your way, and you'll be home in no time, making your yard look, well, spruced up. And if you want to get it delivered to $40, $40 a yard, and they can deliver up to 5 yards with a $40 delivery fee, which is well worth it. If you're in Central Vermont, let them do the driving and take care of the delivery. And if you need, a lot more than just a couple of cubic foot bags, get in touch with them over there at Fontaine Forestry and Millwork. They're on Route 14, just below Bragg Farm. Take you about 10 minutes maybe to get there from Barrie. FontaineSawmill.com, FontaineSawmill.com. And yes, they are on Facebook. I'll be in touch with them again today. I've got my order in for some rough cut fencing and some cedar fence posts, and I'm very excited about it. Not so excited about driving all those fence posts in, but excited about getting the fence up. Wright Electric of Barrie, also one of my presenting sponsors, and Gauthier's Quality Grounds and Maintenance of Orange, now with Trash King Removal. Jason Gauthier, he is on Facebook. You just punch in Jason Gauthier. That's the best and, frankly, the fastest way to get him is right there on Facebook. Send him an instant message. He'll come over. He'll give you an estimate on lawn mowing, landscaping, and trash removal with his new side business, Trash King Trash Removal, which is great stuff. And he's better priced than the big guys, and he's serving all of central Vermont. Vermont news today. And again, before we get it or get to it, we're going to be chatting with Dr. Jason West, a fourth generation medical physician and the owner of the West Clinic in Idaho. We're going to be talking about National Eat What You Want Day. And even if you're not celebrating, you have to admit, for many of us, it has been difficult during this pandemic to be home in front of all of those carbs and, well, comfort food, feel good stuff that we just got to have. So we're going to be chatting with him about that. If you're having a difficult time or you know someone who's having a difficult time eating healthy while we spend so much time at home, he's going to be joining up with us in just about 10 minutes. All right. A quick check of Vermont news today. Vermont officials are confirming we have 6 new cases of coronavirus in the state. The new cases were announced yesterday. That brings the total number of positive tests in Vermont to 927 since the pandemic began. No new deaths reported yesterday, which is great news, and a total of 53 have passed away here in Vermont from the virus. Gosh, I remember when it was 2 and then 3 and then 5. It's just so sad. 53. Only 5 people are hospitalized in Vermont right now with confirmed infections, 16 in the hospital with suspected cases that have not been confirmed through testing. News out of Benson, Vermont this morning. A driver of a tractor trailer is dead following a crash in the town, again, of Benson, that caused the rig to burst into flames. State police arriving troopers found the tractor trailer fully involved in flames after the crash on Route 22A early yesterday morning. 50-year-old truck driver Dennis Stizzy from Schenectady was pronounced dead at the scene. Anyone who may have witnessed the crash is asked to contact the state police barracks in Rutland. In Montpelier, a small protest was held at the State House lawn to demand the reopening of the state. Around 10 people attended the protest amid cold temperatures on Saturday. This is in addition to the one that was, a couple of weeks ago. A few of the protesters wore masks, and the group, not all of them, and the group held signs calling for an end to the shutdowns. Some in the group were focused on mental health, saying that people are suffering because of the restrictions placed on the state. I know a lot of us have opinions about that. Burlington scales back high school plans. The renovation plans for Burlington High School are being scaled back after the initial design came in $20 million over budget. Yeah, that's slightly over budget. This is the gym floor upgrades to the school entrance and all kinds of other stuff. Wow. A quick check of national headlines this morning. Tell you what's going on. We have a new model that is saying there could be over 137,000 deaths from the coronavirus in the U.S. by the start of August. It was last week that was 135,000. But it is now a forecasted guesstimate, again, of 137,000 deaths in the United States. This is the projected model by the start of August. Are we out of the woods? Not hardly. Dr. Christopher Murray of the University of Washington shared this grim projection on CBS Face the Nation. Murray's of the school's Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation. He says the rise in mobility as states begin to reopen is the key driver in the projections that are changing from 135,000 projected to 137,000. Oh boy. Johnson & Johnson's chief scientific officer says the company is looking to have 1 billion vaccines available next year. He was on ABC and says that preparations for clinical trials are underway, and they're expected to start in September. We got a little ways to go. He says he hopes that data is available by the end of the year, and that it is likely that the entire world will need a vaccine for COVID-19. Johns Hopkins University says the virus has now killed more than 280,000 people worldwide. 280. Let's see. Minneapolis. We have a top health official at the University of Minnesota saying that more than half of Americans will contract coronavirus. More than half. He was on Meet the Press on NBC. This Dr. Michael Osterholm of the school's Center for Infectious Disease Research and Policy. He says the virus could hit between 60 and 70% of the American people, and said that it's key to figuring out how to live with the virus in our midst. He says that's not being done right now. Let's see. We have some top Trump admin officials going to be appearing remotely at a Senate hearing this week after entering some form of quarantine. Senate Help Committee Chairman Lamar Alexander released a statement today that others will be testifying by video conference. Let's see. We have the other story here that I think that's pretty much it for the health news this morning. Again, we want to thank you for tuning in and for being part of the conversation this morning. I am trying very hard to watch what is happening in this crazy world of ours on a daily basis while involved with so many other things. What did I see this morning? Jerry Stiller. Yeah, Jerry Stiller has passed away at the age of 92 years old. I thought I saw that this morning. Yeah, 92. Halsey and Marshmallow joining forces to help essential workers. The two artists teamed up with the delivery app Postmates for the hashtag Be Kind campaign, which hopes to donate up to $100,000 in tips to the Postmates fleet, who are essential in moving goods during the health crisis. From now until May 15th, so we have a few more days, Postmates customers can use the code Be Kind to receive a $5 credit to hashtag ordeal or order local. And when they use that code, their Postmate will receive a $10 tip from Halsey, Marshmallow, and Postmates, in addition to their regular compensation, plus any tips from the customer, which is pretty cool. So you have a few more days to get in on that. Hashtag order local, and hashtag be kind. And those are, again, the codes that you're going to want to put in to give those workers a little bit of a break. You know, I got something in the mail the other day that's I don't know, kind of bumming me out a little bit. It's from Gifford Healthcare. And it says, Dear JD, this is a challenging time for all of us with far-reaching implications for how we live and work. I hope this message finds you, your family, and your colleagues healthy and well. I write to share disappointing news. After much consideration, Gifford has made the difficult decision to permanently close Project Independence, our adult day program in Barrie, effective June 1st. Project Independence has been temporarily closed since March 16th due to COVID-19. As you may know, Project Independence participants and participant numbers have decreased significantly in recent years by half, while program costs have continued to grow. Gifford has made a number of efforts to improve Project Independence financial outlook, including exploring potential partnerships for collaboration or transition of the program. However, with the additional stress of the COVID-19 pandemic, our discussions on the future of the program have accelerated and left us with few options. We realize this decision may cause participants and families additional stress in this uncertain time, but Vermont's community organizations are strong. We are working with them to ease this transition and have faith in their ability to continue to connect our participants with the services they need moving forward. What a bummer. Project Independence. This is, by the way, from Dan Bennett, the CEO over at Gifford. I think it's fair to say that Dan himself has probably a pretty good idea of how important Project Independence has been in central Vermont for a long time. I'm guessing that he has spent a good number of hours over there with participants and seeing everything that happens over there on a daily basis. It is, that's some hard news to hear that. I have, as you know, have had Project Independence as a presenting sponsor of the Aired Out podcast for a long time. And when I got that news, it really struck me. You talk about something that is essential in our community, what Project Independence delivers to people to help them get out and get out of their homes and be active participants in our community and have a sense of worth and need and accomplishment. Um, Project Independence is critical for that. Let alone the sense of uh, the amount of entertainment that has come out of that building to keep people engaged and active in what they do. The performers, the artists, from the yoga instructors to the caregiving support group that was held monthly there. Um, Project Independence, no more. And I feel like I want to say, at least for now, and I'm guessing that's what the letter is suggesting, at least for now, but something that has been in our backyard since 1975. Project Independence. That's just really really got me to read that. They say we hope to continue to work together to strengthen the health and well-being of our community members for many years to come. So, as I like to say, maybe it'll be back. Hard to believe that something like that might be just totally shut down. 40 some odd year tradition to have Project Independence here with us in central Vermont. I've been posting some highlights from home, and when I get a good quote of the day from Lily, I like to post that up on Facebook as well. She made a little. We were playing with Play-Doh last week, and she made this little guy, this little figurine out of Play-Doh, and held it up to me and said, "Hey, Dad, say hello to my little friend." I love stuff like that, and she is so charismatic, and I have had so much fun with her over the last couple of weeks, and I very much look forward to posting some more. If I get a good video, I try to get that shared on Facebook as well. Like the other day, it was so cold and so windy, but Lily just wanted to try to ride her bike, and we went up to a vacant parking lot, and we got going up there, and it was, again, the wind was just whipping horribly. We're up near the airport, and I was freezing. I mean, I was freezing my tail off, but Lily insisted that this was going to be the day that she was going to be learning how to ride her bicycle. So away we went, and the training wheels came off, and this was a moment that I have been looking forward to for a long, long time. And I remember when Sherilyn announced that she was pregnant, that one of the things that ran through my head was, I can't wait to teach my child, and at the time didn't know if it was a boy or a girl, how to ride a bike. So it was a was an epic moment. And in typical Lily fashion, she just hopped on and took right off. She wouldn't let me touch the back of the bike, which of course I remember my dad holding the back of my white Huffy way back in, God, it had to be sometime in the early 70s, mid to early 70s. Don't know exactly how old I was, but I remember him. We had a cul-de-sac at the end of our neighborhood, and just to make it around that circle one lap without crashing, I remember well. And I remember, do you remember the feeling that you had when you took off for the first time on your bike? The magic behind it. This incredible feeling, like you're floating on air. I still remember that. I still remember that. And of course, Lily just gets up there, and she would only let me touch the center of the front handlebars and just give her a little pull forward. But she was adamant about me not going near the back of the bike. She wanted to see where my hands were. So I just gave her a supportive pull, if you would, not a push, but a pull, and that was it. She just lifted off and took off. And of course, again, in typical Lily fashion, she went from 0 to 60 in 1 second, and was just pedaling. keep pedaling, just pedaling her legs as fast as she could. And it was just awesome. It really was just amazing to see that. And a couple of crashes. We had a couple of them, but none of them too serious. One that resulted in a banged up hand and thumb, which also resulted in some tears. And we had to kind of decompress in the car for a little while. And I really was convinced that that was it. We were headed home at that point, but we dried up the tears and tried to stay calm. And then she wanted to get back on the bike, which made me quite happy. Got to get back on the horse, right? And she did, and it was great. And the next problem was Daddy was freezing his tail off, and she didn't want to stop. She just wanted to keep on going. So it was a fine day, and the other crash was the old, I'm headed for the woods too quickly, and I have forgotten to backpedal to the coaster brake to slow down. So she tried to put her feet down and had way too much momentum, and the feet dragging was just not going to cut it. So she took a dumper right into the woods, but was all right. Not as bad as the crash into the concrete light pole. And that was one of those in the parking lot. And that was one of those situations where, and I know you know what I'm talking about, when you see something, you steer right for it. I think it was in driver's ed that we learned that to look away and to go where your eyes are telling you to go. Well, when your eyes are focused on that concrete light pole, sometimes you can, especially on your first day of learning how to ride a bicycle, you can be paralyzed by the fear of, hey, that light pole is coming up on me fast. So I'm not sure if I should just continue to steer toward it, if it'll go away, or what the deal is. But she, she took a digger head first into this light pole, and it's a good thing she had the helmet on too, because that resulted in a hit of the head right in there. But again, okay. I think if and it's one of the challenging things as a parent that I'm still learning, and probably will always learn, is how to practice being calm in front of your kid when they see that that you're worried or upset. It's just like throwing gas in the fire. So just trying to stay calm, not an easy thing to do at all at times. And I'm sure this is just the beginning of the beginning. Hey, we have just 2 episodes left of ESPN's 10-part documentary about Michael Jordan and the 90s Bulls. Episode 7 of The Last Dance last night detailed Jordan retiring from the NBA in 93 after the murder of his father so that he could play minor league baseball. If you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it for you, but the final 2 episodes of the series are going to be airing next Sunday night. If you're a b-ball fan, that's something you've probably been watching. We have an Oscar-winning actor who could be playing the New York governor, Andrew Cuomo, on the big screen. Cuomo made a virtual guest appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert last night when he reacted to Robert De Niro saying that he wants to play him if a film was made about the coronavirus crisis. Cuomo said he's a big fan of De Niro and added that the actor is phenomenal, which of course he is. So, yeah, of course, Hollywood's got to jump on this. There could be a movie coming anytime about coronavirus. Wouldn't surprise me in the least bit. We're trying to connect this morning with Dr. West, Dr. Jason West, to talk a little bit about healthy eating and frankly, the lack thereof for many of us who have experienced during this lockdown, this coronavirus lockdown. We've experienced the need to eat, and for many of us, it's stress eating, and I think so many of us have been guilty of that. I know I have. It is not easy to stay away from the comfort food. It is not easy to resist those foods that you love so much. And it is so easy to pack on the pounds. I mean, it really is. One of the things that that we've tried doing during this pandemic is is making our own bread instead of buying bread. And that surfaced from a visit, of course, to the grocery store where there really wasn't much bread, at least at the start of this whole pandemic craze. And boy, those bread machines can get a little dangerous. You can, there's all kinds of recipes, and I made a banana bread in the bread machine yesterday, which I'll say this: I highly don't recommend. Won't be doing that again. Didn't come out very well at all. But there's the quick breads, the yeast breads. They're all they're none of them are really all that great for you. So and then you get the pastas, which the pasta is something that, at least for us, is such a quick and easy thing to do. It's like I said, it's fast. If you're coming home late and you want to throw some pasta in the pot and just get dinner going, but and as like I said, and it's cheap as well. And that's the breads and the pastas, which are two of the pretty much the biggest no-nos if you are trying to shed some pounds and stay healthy. Not easy. Chris Larson is going to be with us hopefully tomorrow. He is a divorce attorney who's down in Rutland from Moob, Gallivan, and Larson. And we're going to be chatting with him about, well, divorce and what's going on right now and how COVID-19 is playing a role in it and could be playing a role in divorce for a while to come. Could be months, could be years. But I have been seeing on social media that there is an impending divorce-a-palooza that is coming down the pipe as a result of so many of us spending so much more time at home with our partners. And you throw children into the mix and some financial strain. The cost of everything these days, food, utilities, mortgage, cars, health insurance, whatever it may be, you throw the cost of all of these things together and add that into the cauldron of stress that's going around, and you churn that all up. It is not high time for many of us in relationships. And the, again, impending divorce-a-palooza could be coming at any time now. So I'm anxious to chat with Chris Larson about that. Trying to find topics that are relevant to what's going on right now, relatable. things that we can engage in and connect through with life experience. We're also going to be chatting possibly on Thursday, and as soon as I get a confirmation, I will let you know. Sue Minter from Capstone Community Action has been just the whole organization there, and I don't want to give too much kudos to Sue as the executive director, although she's pretty much the backbone of Capstone and overseeing everything and making it all happen. But you talk about an organization in our community that one of so many that were just blindsided by coronavirus and had to and still is thinking quickly and outside of the box on how to keep going and to make the many services that Capstone provides readily available to so many of us in our community that need it. That's Capstone right there. And, I think that it is so easy that I think it's so easy for so many of us to make a quick decision whether or not we need to carry on and keep pushing. And I think Capstone was one of those organizations that didn't have to think very long about making a decision of what they were going to do. You either shift into neutral or you shift into overdrive, and that's exactly what Capstone did and has done. Republicans are resisting any effort that allows citizens to vote by mail during the pandemic. Republicans are now prepared to spend up to $20 million in litigation. This is just coming across the wire right now. The White House press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany, says the FBI was looking for dirt on former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn that they did not have. And at a press briefing, she said the FBI tried to manufacture a crime against Flynn in the Russian probe. But this is also just coming across the wire right now. The Justice Department moved yesterday to drop all charges against Flynn. Supreme Court Justice John Roberts is putting a hold on the order to release documents from the Mueller investigation of Russian interference in the 2016 election. Have you heard about this? The release of the documents would allow Democrats to search for new evidence. Not good. Not good. Well, we're watching these things. We're watching these stories. And when we find out about them, we like to let you know as quickly as possible. Dr. West, good morning.
Morning.
Can you hear us?
Yes,
can you hear us?
Great.
Yeah, man. Hey, thank you ever so much for joining us, man. I got to tell you, first off, happy Monday. Jeff Crilly speaks so highly of you. He's like, got to get this guy on. We're all eating like crap these days. This is a perfect time to have you on. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, you're absolutely welcome. I'm trying to, I'm supposed to have this really cool background that comes behind me, and I just got to figure out why it's not doing that.
Well, that's just fine. I'm still figuring out things over here at my end. You know, the home studio thing is something that's going to be, I think, evolving for quite a while. Hey, listen, today is National Eat What You Want Day. And hey, there we go.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I'm
That's
trying to
cool.
figure out the best one here. I don't know
That
if that's
that would be my preference.
all right.
Hey, so first off, where are you? Are you in what state are you in?
I'm in Pocatello, Idaho, which is about 2 hours north of Salt Lake.
Okay. Chilly?
It's very, very pleasant right now. I think it's about 70 degrees outside. It just rained, and it's just beautiful.
Well, send it our way, man. Send it our way. Today is, as I said, National Eat What You Want Day. And, you know, this is a perfect opportunity to have a doctor who is an expert in healthy living. You have been part of you're a fourth generation doctor with your family practice there in Idaho.
It is true. It is true.
So healthy living, this is something that is not that easy for so many of us during this pandemic. I mean, it's not just about what's readily available in stores, but it's also about lifestyle and regimen. What everything has changed, and for those of us that are still working and still plugging along, maybe not so much, but for those of us who have come home and are working from home, and we have children from home, and we're spending a lot of time nesting. We're reaching for the carbs, we're reaching for the sugars more than ever, it seems.
Well, you are absolutely right. It's comfort food. You know what happens is sugar stimulates your dopamine receptors, and you know you are what you eat, and you are what you absorb. And so, what I'm advising people is like just some really simple rules. Like one of my favorite things to tell people is you should eat what spoils. Just eat it before it spoils. And the reason why is because foods that don't spoil have a lot of insecticides in them. Now, in the food industry, we don't call it insecticides because no one would eat them. We call it food preservatives. But what happens is it's just that little bugs won't eat the food, and we are just bigger bugs. So the first rule is only eat food that spoils. The second rule is a rainbow. When you sit down to eat, you should have some red, some green, some yellow, some purple. Skittles, Starburst, M&Ms don't count. It needs to be plant-based material. And if we can start off with just, you know, some simple rules and recognizing that comfort foods have a price tag. I mean, they make you temporarily feel good, but then what happens is your body's like, great, I got all this energy, I got all this sugar, I better store it up. And then when it stores it up, what happens is instead of accessing the storage, the body has a tendency to be like, hey, I just want to get some more of that really good, feel good food. And now what happens is we have the stored energy. You know, in my office, we don't like to use the F word. We don't use FAT. We just say stored energy.
Stored. I have a ton of stored energy, and I must admit, I lost you there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I must admit, with a 5-year-old, I am just constantly watching the weather forecast to plan out the next day. And when it's a day where it's been exceptionally cold up here, we're about 20 degrees below average here in Vermont. and we just had a snowstorm. We're trying to plant our gardens. We're trying to get outside. We're trying to be as active as possible. But planning out the day, watching the forecast. But when it's a day that has been windy and rainy and cold and snowy at times, your kid doesn't always want to go outside, and quite frankly, neither does dad. So when you're not being as active as you could be it weather related or whatever your excuse is, you're spending more time in the house, and you're going for the Toll House cookies. You're going for the hot cocoa. And you got the bread machine fired up, and that, I got to tell you, man, we've been making bread like crazy, and going through it like crazy. And our excuse is that it's healthier to make bread than it is to buy it in the store.
Well, one of the things that's happening for you guys is you're getting, quarantine fatigue. You're getting, our lives have changed, and it's going to be so fascinating and kind of scary of, well, what does that mean? Has it changed forever, or is it just slightly that is happening for all of us, not just you, is we're trying to figure out what is the void? Like, how can we fill the void of normal activity? And so we're turning to new hobbies. In your case, it's baking and cooking. And it's funny because my mom tells me all the time, if you go and eat store-bought bread, you will die a horrible, awful death. But if you have my bread, my home, it is nectar of the gods, and you'll be fine. And you can eat as much as
Yes.
you want, and it will have no impact on you. And so I come from that mindset. But what we need to do is find out, okay, what can we have as a healthy hobby? And it's out of the norm to meditate, to exercise with social distancing, to read. And so we're going back to, okay, I know what, I'm going to go make a really, really good fruit juice smoothie. I'm going to make a milkshake. I'm going to make some biscuits. I'm going to make bread and rolls. And we're looking to rechannel energy into something that isn't putting stored energy and comfort foods into our system. I mean, there's nothing wrong with eating. We just need to have some direction on what to eat.
I was saying earlier this morning, the other, I guess, enemy in our household is, but gosh, we love this enemy so much, is the potatoes and the pasta. And that's the trifecta right there. It's the bread, the potatoes, and the pasta. I mean, pasta it's cheap, it's readily available. And if we are out doing something, we might be out doing ironically, some grocery shopping or any kind of shopping. We come home, we need a quick meal. It's just got to be fast. We throw pasta in the pot and cook it up. We've been eating so much pasta and potatoes. It's so hard. It's so good.
Well,
Are we really addicted to can we really be addicted to carbs?
Oh, for sure. Matter of fact, one of my favorite books is by a doctor named Nancy Appleton, and she wrote a book called Suicide by Sugar. And it's one of those poison information books. And what I mean by that, it's fantastic information. But once you know the information, you can't go backwards. Like, you can't go back to enjoying a Snickers bar or a donut anymore, because you're recognizing this is what it's doing to the body. And certainly grains and breads and pasta it's just something. I mean, I don't think I've ever met a bowl of pasta that I haven't liked. I mean, it's really good. It's just not the best for you. Now, I have to stick up for potatoes a little bit. I mean, I am from Idaho, and there's some wonderful nutrients in potatoes. It's just how it's prepared. For example, potato chips, not so bueno. French fries, not so good. I will say that a baked potato has a ton of vitamin C in it, has some really neat minerals, potassium in it, has some nutrient dense food. Twice baked potatoes, scallop potatoes, or what they call funeral potatoes are, I mean, that's just stored energy that you're putting in your body. You're going to get fat if you're eating that. But potatoes, it's kind of how you eat it. Pasta, if you could have European wheat pasta, I mean, one of the interesting things is you hear about the Mediterranean diet, creams, wine, and lots of pasta, and it reduces cardiovascular risk disease. So that's kind of interesting how they're incorporating into it. I'm also a pretty big fan of the book, The Grain Brain and Wheat Belly, and it talks about how the food engineers have taken wheat and they've engineered it with goat grass, and what used to be a good food, we've turned into something that isn't that great of food, because goat grass is a really hardy, thrifty, successful weed. It grows on just about anything with really low moisture content requirements. And on the flip side, we mix it with hard red wheat, and that goat grass is like super glue. You put it into your intestinal tract and it paralyzes the microvilli so you can't absorb anything. And so with autoimmune disorders, rheumatoid arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, chronic fatigue, chronic Lyme disease, if I can get people to eat for a time period, to get off of grains, to get off of pasta, to get off of white sugar, they do so much better. So I know it has an effect. Now, obviously, everybody that eats wheat doesn't necessarily have, celiac disease or are paralyzed and stuff. But just from clinical observation, being in the trenches for 20 years, if you can cut down on some of those foods, I see people just make quantum jumps in improvement. So going back to, you saying, hey, I'm stuck at home with my 5-year-old, I'm looking at the weather, I'm trying to figure out what to do. And if the weather's bad, hey, we're heading to hot chocolate and breads and pasta. And I certainly know why you're doing that, but we got to nudge you into a different direction and move you into healthy, alive, colorful foods. You can get satisfaction from eating. Just because I'm going to tell people, hey, you need to eat healthy, doesn't mean that they need to go into a monastery and eat steak and broccoli for the rest of their lives. I mean, you don't have to penalize yourself to eat. You can use honey, you can use maple syrup, you can use fruit. There's so many good ways to eat. And matter of fact, I put together a book. I've got, here it is right here.
Please, yes, show us.
It's called Hidden Secrets to Healthy Living. And what we did with this book is we just went out and found great recipes that taste good so that we can give them to people, because if you can get people to eat healthy and it tastes good, then you're winning the battle on different diseases and stuff like that. So don't think that you have to punish yourself, or that you're totally the only avenue to feel good is carbs. What I would say is we just need to expand your horizons a little bit.
I'm looking over my shoulder because I have that book on my bookshelf behind me. Amazing. I mean, I guess I didn't cross that you were the author of that, but I've got it right here. That's cool.
I'm tickled.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. What a coincidence. That must have been something that I found through Jeff a few years ago. Now, was there something else that you wrote also?
I've got 2 books. I got another one called The Hidden Secrets to Curing Your Chronic Disease. I've written 8 books. A couple of them were horrible flops. I just did not know what I was doing. I can't believe some of it's out there somewhere. These are the finished ones. And I actually met Jeff through my book coach. Her name's Michelle Prince, and Michelle had a conference, and that's where I met Jeff Curley at Real News PR, and that's how we hooked up. And so anyway, Michelle is absolutely amazing, and what I was telling her what to do, she flew out to Idaho and helped me put a book together, and then we did another one right after it of saying, look, it's not enough to tell people to be healthy. You've got to give them a roadmap. You have to give them a tool set, because everybody inherently knows I shouldn't eat junk, or I should really eat at home more. I should eat more fruits and vegetables. I should cut down on, donuts or soda or, the different things. But if you don't give people a tool set, then what happens is no one changes.
Yeah. Just hearing you speak is making me think of the documentary Food Inc. I'm sure you've had a chance to see that.
I have. I love that information. And again, it's what I try to tell people when it comes to lifestyle, because you are what you eat, you are what you absorb, what you decide to put into your system has a dramatic impact on your future health. It may not have it right this second. And I think, in all honesty, this is one of the reasons why there's such a fear of this virus and this pandemic that we're in, because it's forcing people to get a nutritional report card. Because if you look at the CDC statistics, it's saying that 99% of people are going to be asymptomatic, which means they don't have any symptoms at all, or they're going to have mild symptoms. Where it's hammering people is when they have the comorbidities of high blood pressure, lung disease, cardiovascular disease, and asthma and stuff like that, where people may not have been putting good building blocks into their system unintentionally, or unfortunately, maybe they won the bad gene lottery where they got bad genes from their dad and bad genes from their mom, and it came together, and now they're susceptible. And you can't take a magic pill, a lotion, or a potion for having those risk factors. So when what we decide right now, I mean, I feel like I'm talking from one of my favorite movies, Gladiator. What we do right now is going to echo in the future, and it's scary and it's nerve wracking. And the American society is like, I don't really have to take, responsibility for my health. I'm just going to get a lotion, a potion, a magic prescription, or a surgery later, and I'll be
Yeah.
fine. And all of a sudden, we have this weird virus rolling in that is saying, I'm going to go after people that have these comorbidities. And so
Yeah.
really the way to manage this is, hey, let's get our immune systems healthy. Let's get enough water so that we lubricate our mucous membrane. Let's get vitamin A, which protects the mucous membrane, vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc. There's so many good things that people can do. And most of the time they have it in their cupboards.
Sure.
Don't even know. Like, I
Sure.
mean, it's so fascinating. People come in to the office for healthcare concerns, and they bring in this tub or this wheelbarrow of supplements, and I'll ask them, where'd you get it? And they'll say, well, my neighbor told me to take this, and my cousin told me to take this, and the GNC told me to take this. I mean, we have all these different things, and I'm like, well, are you taking it? No, I just have it in the house. And I want to say, look, it's not by osmosis that you can, that doesn't happen on its own. You actually have to take it. So we just wanted to create a network or a system or a tool set to say, look, let's eat healthy. You are what you eat. You are what you absorb. Relationships matter. Emotions matter. The more zen and centered and everything that all of us can be, the faster we can get our community and our country and everything back on track.
True. I just great stuff there. I just heard you say three words a minute ago that got my attention. The magic pill. There's another documentary I'm sure you've seen about the ketogenesis and the keto diet, which is so trendy right now. Great, great help with folks like myself who have inflammation issues, joint pain. What's your take on that?
Well, I'm a really big fan of the keto diet. I'm a big fan of the caveman diet. One interesting challenge that I was challenged last week that I'm trying to get information and parameters around is about the carnivore diet. I've had a patient that's had some really tough inflammatory issues for a long time, and they saw a podcast of Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan was saying, hey, I ate meat, only for a month. And I had a patient came in and said, hey, Dr. West, what do you think about, only protein? And I told him, look, I pride myself on being open-minded. I've learned a lot of things in college, in postgraduate. I've been through 2 doctoral programs, and I've learned a lot. I've learned even more listening to patients in the trenches. When someone has an autoimmune disorder or a chronic health problem, and they walk into your office and they've had it for a couple of years, guess what? There's an expert sitting there in front of you And if you listen to him, one of my favorite mentors, Dr. John Lord, said, if you listen close enough, your patients will tell you what's wrong. And so I've learned all this stuff. And so I've learned, don't be closed-minded. So the patient came in and said, I'm on this meat diet. It's the best I've ever felt. I've lost the weight. I've lost the inflammation. And part of me is saying, hey, I got to go try that. The other part of me is saying, how is it possible for you to function just on meat? And so the answer to your question, which I'm getting a little bit long-winded, is I think the keto diet, the caveman, I think they're really good starting spots. All diets have their place. Like I've had people come in and say, I'm on the watermelon diet and I felt great. I've been on the keto diet. I've been on the paleo diet. I've been on the caveman diet. I've been on the Atkins diet. And what I say is society has people for your genetic characteristics or your family history, whatever it is, you'll line up with a specific diet, but that keto diet is pretty doggone good. And I would highly recommend, if you've got inflammation issues, you should try this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so interesting. And there's so many different diets to choose from. I think so many of us can get overwhelmed and we just say, screw it. Or we try something, we go head first into it and we stick with it real hard, and then we bottom out for whatever reason. It's important though to really do your homework on these diets first and study up on them as much as possible before you even try them, so that you really know what you're doing, what you're getting into. You know, we're so busy and so distracted with so many other things going on and so many other worries and concerns that we have in our life, that eating seems to take a back seat more often than not. We just eat when we're hungry, and we just eat whatever it is when we're hungry. And man, I'm guilty of that too. Now I got to start flipping through these pages of your book here, and I got to dust it off. It's been sitting on the bookshelf here. Um, but National Eat What You Want Day is today. Is it okay for folks who are on a strict or a somewhat strict diet regimen to take one day out of the year or one day out of the month and say, to hell with it?
Well,
I'm going to treat myself to one donut and or whatever it may be.
so JD, one of the things that I tell people is I repeat what the world's greatest doctor. Now I'm totally biased. I practiced with my dad for 12 years. My dad passed away about 8 or 9 years ago. Smartest doctor that I've known. I'm totally biased. I recognize that. And he had the saying in the office when people would ask him questions like that, and he would say, "It's a free country. You can have your symptoms as long as you want." So when you ask me,
Ah,
hey, is it okay to have a cheat day? The answer is, well, it kind of depends on, are you willing to pay the price tag for both directions for that? Now, that there's a little bit of leeway in what I'm saying. What I mean by that is if you're on a program or a diet to lose weight, to control your carb intake, and to increase your calorie output. That's kind of the age-old recipe of less food in and more output is going to help you lose weight. That's one thing. Now, if you're on a autoimmune inflammatory diet, if you have cardiovascular disease, if you're on something, and to your point a little bit earlier, we were talking about how important lifestyle is. You say, well, everyone's, I'll just eat when I'm hungry. And one of the things that I'm saying is the best way to get control of your health is to take control. Bodies love a schedule. We love it when we get up at the same time, we go to bed at the same time, and we eat at the same time. And if we get our bodies conditioned to do that, and when I say eat, it doesn't mean a Thanksgiving meal 3 times a day. You don't have to have, these huge breakfasts, a huge lunch, a huge dinner. That's going to put stored energy into your system. And so when you ask about cheat day, the answer is it's a big fat maybe. And the maybe is this: is it worth what you're going to pay in symptoms and inflammation stuff moving forward to cheat a day? If you're trying to lose weight, it's probably not that big a deal. If you have rheumatoid arthritis, it could be devastating for you to cheat. And so one of the things that I tell people, like, you're the driver of your car. You have this
Yeah.
amazing Ferrari, and you get one in your life. And if you run out your engine, or if you blow out your suspension or your shocks, or like, you can't take it into the shop. Like, you can kind of get it a little bit better by going to different healthcare providers, but we have one vehicle, take really good care of it. So this is kind of funny, tongue in cheek, of this National Eat What You Want Day, but I don't think that's the greatest idea. Just remember this. Uh, I think that the best way to describe some healthcare is to say, in religion, deviation from God's law, we call a sin. In healthcare, deviation from natural law is a symptom. So if you want to have change in physiology, change in symptoms, you got to change or go back to the law. And this National Eat Day, I'm kind of down on it. I think that you should
Yeah.
eat healthy and alive foods, rainbow, get lots of water, and that's how you live your life. And guess what? It's going to pay off in a week, a month, or a year from now. And by the way, the longer that we go without putting the sugar and carbs into our system, the less that our body craves it. When you're putting it in all the time and then you stop, your body feels like you're going to die. We call it neuroglycopenia, which means when the blood sugar drops, the nerves freak out. And so for carb addicts, which, by the way, I need to say this, I really like cinnamon rolls. I like pasta. I like my wife's cookies. I try to be reasonable in my intake. I mean, I married a farm girl who's used to having these 7,000 calorie meals because her dad and her brothers go out and have these immense physical expenditures. And I'm trying to tell her, it's not, I don't love your cooking, honey. It's just that I
Wow.
can't eat that much. And so it's a total lifestyle awareness that has to happen. And when you do that, the reward is the complete absence of physical symptoms, of emotional and physical and spiritual clarity.
Wow, that is so profound right there. You've really inspired me. Yeah, the carb cravings are huge, and I was curious to know. I've asked some people that have been on keto, hey, are you going crazy? Are you kind of like over the carb thing? And few of them have said yes, and others have said not at all. There was a switch that went off, and they just simply don't crave the carbs. I find that so hard to believe. I feel like I'm the one that if I go keto, I am going to have a hard time with carbs. But it's all about what you bring into your house too. If it's there in the house, if there's Ritz crackers in my house and in a jar of peanut butter, I'm in trouble. I mean, I literally cannot say no. But it's about what you bring into your house, isn't it?
Well, JD, you're exactly right. Matter of fact, here's one rule, just another simple rule to follow. If you can eat just one thing, it's probably a good food. Like, let me give you an example. How many oranges could you eat? Or how many apples could you eat? I mean, you can eat an apple. Maybe you can eat two. Definitely, like three is going to be way too much. But put a thing of Ritz crackers or Oreos or Doritos in front of you. And what do? We stop when it's gone. When there's no more Ritz crackers, we're like, okay, we're out. And
Yes.
and we have to remember that, like, there's some really smart food engineers there that have engineered the satiation response out of Ritz crackers and out of Oreos and out of licorice and stuff, so that there's no shutoff valve. And it's really important for you to be aware of that. Now that you're educated, be like, okay, I can understand that Ritz crackers, and which, by the way, one of my favorite things in life, my guilty pleasure, is Ritz crackers and some sharp cheddar or some Swiss cheese. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
you have to make a Ritz sandwich. I mean, how can you live
Yes.
without a Ritz sandwich? But
Yes.
at the same time, if we're aware of, okay, there has to be a reason where, one may not kill me, a package is not going to be healthy for me. And then I wanted to give you a little bit of encouragement on the keto thing. What happens is usually people go through a cleansing, a carb cleansing, where we have all of this stored energy. We're putting carbs into our system. We're used to having that energy. And then when we switch to a caveman or paleo or a keto diet, what happens is our body starts to use up the sugar. And then what happens is it feels like we're going to die because we don't have any sugar. And then when the body recognizes, hey, we're not dying, it starts to go into ketogenesis. It starts to burn up the carbs and the stored energy. And usually that, I find that's about the 2 to 3 day mark. So it's kind of rough for 2 or 3 days. And then what happens is you have an emotional and a spiritual experience where you recognize, hey, my mind is in control of my body. And that switch occurs, and all of a sudden you stop craving carbs. I mean, it's totally possible. I've
Wow.
seen this happen with hundreds of people. You can do it if you want to. You can totally.
Wow. Wow. Doctor, thank you ever so much for joining us this morning. What's the best way that people can get in touch with you, learn more about you, your website, your social media? How can folks watching, listening here in Vermont contact you today?
Well, our website is West Clinic Online, and that's what we share with people. That's kind of the front of the business. We do a lot of virtual medicine. Most of our patients, 90% of our patients, come from out of state. We've developed a nice little destination office in the booming megatropolis of Pocatello, Idaho. One of the things I'm most proud of is we have a blog called Daily Dose Vitamin H. And what happens is we put up our patient success stories of people that were out of hope and out of time and out of options. And we help them to recognize that there's some barriers to healing. Sometimes it comes from within, sometimes it's from without. And one of the barriers is not getting your body on a schedule. If you get people on a schedule, going to bed and getting up and eating on the same time periods, it gives them a sense of control. So many times people come into my office and they'll say, I'm out of hope, I'm out of time, out of options. And what they're really saying is, I've lost control. So if you help people get control back into their system by education and by treatment options and stuff. But I'm really proud of that blog, Daily Dose Vitamin H. We've got hundreds of success stories of people that were there. And then, of course, the books. You can get these on Amazon.
Yes.
Hidden Secrets to Curing Your Chronic Disease and Hidden Secrets to Healthy Living. And it's been an honor. JD, thanks for making me get up a little bit earlier. We're 2 hours behind you, but I'm a
Yes.
morning bird, and it's great.
Thank you for so much. And I know we were chatting for a little while trying to coordinate this. Thank you ever so much for getting up extra early this morning to come on. Hold up those two books one more time. You can get them on Amazon right now. Hidden Secrets to Healthy Living and Hidden Secrets to Curing Your Chronic Disease. This is Dr. Jason West, live out in Idaho today. Doesn't look like Idaho behind you, brother, at
It
all.
doesn't, that Zoom background. Like I said, I came into my little studio earlier. I'm like, I can't find the background. I can't find it. And then I'm like, hey, and then you're like, hey, that beach looks good.
Yeah.
This is not Idaho.
No, not Idaho at all. It would be cornfields and maybe some potato fields behind you.
Potato
Thank
and some grain fields. Yes.
Yeah. I can only hope to have you back on the show again soon. We'll stay in touch. In the meanwhile, thank you so much, Dr. Jason West. We appreciate you so much. There he is. And we're going to wrap things up this morning. It's just about 8:31. And want to say thanks again to Aeromed Essentials on State Street in Montpelier. And of course, in the Berlin Mall, they're going to be reopening real soon. We have to say also thank you to Chris Wright from Wright Electric, also one of my presenting sponsors. The Fontaine family over at Fontaine Sawmill, Fontaine Forestry and Millwork on Route 14, just below Bragg Farm, where they are making the red hemlock and cedar bark mulch for $5 a bag right now. You pull up, you get it loaded into your car. You don't even have to get out. And if you get 5 bags or more, it's just $4 a bag. FontaineSawmill.com. Yes, they will deliver. They're amazing over there. And of course, Jason Gauthier of Gauthier's Quality Grounds and Maintenance in East Orange. You can find him on Facebook, Jason Gauthier Property Maintenance, Lawn Mowing, Weed Whacking, get ready for it, landscaping, and of course, Trash King Trash Removal Service, his new side business. He is a great guy, and he is super, super busy. Get in touch with him. Tell him I sent you. He's just a great guy. That's going to do it for now. Have a great rest of your Monday. Don't forget tomorrow morning. Hopefully, we're going to get him on. We're still working on some details, but Chris Larson from Moob, Gallivan and Larson, he's a divorce attorney down in Rutland. We're going to be talking about, the strains and stress of being at home. Domestic abuse is up, and an impending divorce-a-palooza. Yeah, it's all tomorrow morning on Aired Out. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.